and welcome back to another reading vlog. This is week 2 of the Once Upon a Readathon taking place all throughout the month of November. Last week I did pretty good with my reading. Like, I am a solid chunk of the way through, almost done, Queens of Innisleer, which is the book for my first step in the readathon, and then I'm like a third of the way through the second book, Clara and the Sun. So right now it is Monday around noonish. I have a really hard time with Poppy like getting anything done in the morning. Like, I feel like she like gets up pretty early, we like do stuff for an hour, she goes down for a little bit, and that's like my like 2 hours of like eating breakfast and waking up to the world. I am one of those like really slow to wake up kind of people. So anyway, that being said, it is noon. Poppy is down for another nap. We just got back from a big walk, and I'm gonna get ready. I have to go run some errands. Specifically, we just got new duvets for our bed, and I have to go get some new duvet covers. And I said duvets plural, yes. And that is because I think this is a place, or a thing in other places in Europe, but in Denmark they use like 2 individual duvets, like on a double bed or a queen bed or whatever. And I used to think that was crazy. I like hated the idea of it, but anytime that we're at like an Airbnb where that is the case and they have this, we actually sleep really, really well. So we finally gave in. We just bought 2 duvets. So I'm gonna go to Jysk and pick up some duvet covers, and I might run to like the pharmacy. I think it has some sales. I want to get up like or I want to try like micellar water. A friend of mine has been having really like positive success with that for her skin. So I know obviously my skin is different, but I'm going to check that out. So in this week, like this week of the reading vlog, I'm hopefully going to finish Queens of Innisleer like today or tomorrow at the latest. And that one I've been reading mostly audiobook, and physically I've been reading Clara and the Sun. So once I'm done the audiobook for Queens of Innisleer, I'm going to pick up the audiobook for Black Sun, which is the 3rd book that I have to read in this. That is the, I think, Gathering Companions stage of the readathon. That is the 3rd book that I have to read. So I'm going to be reading like multiple books always at a time, but finishing in the correct order. That is the plan. If anything, I might also have to, like, if I finish Clara and the Sun, which hopefully I finish that kind of quickly, then I'll pick up the 4th book as well, and I guess I'll do that one. I have I think I have both the audio and the ebook copy requested from the library, and that is the Book of Gothel. I had to keep like putting like postpone on that, so I'll have to check in with my library app, but that means the next time that it's available, because I'm like getting closer to it, I'll just be able to take out whatever comes available for that one. Anyway, so that's where we're at. I'm obviously not very good at like talking and doing. I do not wear makeup every day, and really like at bare minimum, this is kind of generally where I would stop on the average day, which is foundation and blush. Anyway, that is it. I'm gonna go put on some nicer clothes, just like not track pants, essentially. I wear track pants when I walk Poppy. I have no shame about that for sure, but I'm going to a store, so I will put on jeans. I just realized that I'm about to leave, and I just poured myself a fresh cup of tea, so I'm gonna put it in a travel mug. I can't take it with me because I'm biking, but hopefully it is still somewhat warm when I get back. And I'm gonna be listening to the audiobook for Queens of Innisleer while I am running out. That's kind of like the time where I'm getting the most audiobook listening done, is biking to and from places and doing errands and stuff like that. So I have only a couple hours left in this book, and I just want to like get through, check off this first prompt. Okay, I just got back. It's very windy and blustery out, and it's that time of the year where you're like, oh, it looks so cold out, so you put on like a really thick coat, but then you bike, and so then you get where you're going, you're really warm, and you walk around stores, and you're like, oh my god, I'm sweltering. But I know if I had worn a lighter coat, I would have been freezing on the bike ride. So fall. So success, I think. I got this one for the duvet cover. It was down between this and like a solid green. We have like these like really kind of translucent green curtains in the bedroom and like no other kind of like color aesthetic just yet because we haven't decorated that much. I wanted something that was like a little bit patterned. Like I liked the solid green, and there was a solid green that had like very small little darker green dots on it, and she couldn't decide. And then I saw this one and I thought, yes. And then I got these. Oh my god. I have no willpower, and obviously I already opened them to snack on while I finish my shopping. But they're these like, I don't know how to say it, cool tuller, no clue. But they're eucalyptus and menthol candies. And everyone else I know hates them. Everyone that I'm like, oh my god, I'm obsessed with these candies, you have to try them. Everyone's like, that's the most disgusting thing I've ever tasted. Like, Dave hates them. Taylor was like, I really want to take your side in this argument with Dave, but like, these are gross. But I'm absolutely obsessed with them. And usually I could only like, before I could only ever find them at like pick and mixes, so I'd have to like, you know, do like the bulk. And then I found one of our grocery stores nearby has like a huge, I think it says share size. We all know I'm only gonna eat this, and it'll probably only be a couple days. I have a serious candy addiction. I don't know if that has come across yet on this channel. Listening to Queens of Innisleer, it's going well. A couple hours left. I will wait and do like a, here's everything that I thought about this when I finish it. Poppy is still asleep, but I hear some sounds, some moving around, so I'll have to get her up soon, take her out, and then I have like just a little bit of time with her, like a good solid chunk of time of her being up before I have to go and teach some classes this evening. So, oh, and it is pouring rain. I'm really glad I just got in. That would have been awful. Okay, I'll keep you in the loop. So it is Tuesday morning. Poppy and I are down for our first nap. She usually does this one in the crate, but occasionally we do snuggles in bed. And it's on days when I also need a little bit of a morning nap. I feel absolutely exhausted. I've been teaching more classes than usual, and particularly like fit classes. So I'm just like physically wiped. So I don't actually think I'm gonna fall back asleep. So I'm going to put on the audiobook. I've got an hour and 40 minutes left for the Queens of Innisleer. Poppy goes down for minimum 2 hours, so I could do this. Got to get through. Just going to put it on, maybe amp up the speed a little bit, power through, move on to Clara in the Sun. So I'm just getting ready to go to work. I've got my rain gear on. I don't actually think it's supposed to rain today, but you never know. The floor putting on my shoes. My very worn, rundown shoes. So, I get a lot of my audiobook listening done when I am biking. I try to be really safe and like have one ear off so I can hear traffic and other bike bells and people, etc. Anyway, going to put on the very last of Kings of Innisleer. I did not end up finishing it while we were having nap time yesterday. It was just like I was like, I have a really hard time like lying down doing nothing while listening to audiobook. Like I get distracted. I like pull up my phone. I start scrolling on Instagram. Then I want to read something on Instagram, so I have to press pause. It's a whole thing. I've got like maybe 30 minutes left, so definitely between the bike ride to work and back from work, I will be able to finish Queens of Innisleer. I also did some reading earlier today of Clara in the Sun when Poppy was down for her crate time. So I am off, gonna get some reading done, and I will update you guys later when I'm all done. Turns out I only had 1 minute left of Queens of Innisleer. So finished that, pulled up my next book on the audiobook, which was Black Sun. Totally forgot. No one reminded me. There's a very, very descriptive scene of a child being blinded in the first chapter. So that was a lovely thing to read or listen to right before arriving to work and teaching yoga. Okay, so I just finished up for the night. There's a couple people still in change rooms, so I thought I would pop in since I have to be here, kind of waiting for them to all wrap up. Anyway, I thought I would touch base. So, as I said, just really briefly, I basically like got on my bike, turned on my headphones, and there was like 1 minute left. The book ended, so I didn't realize how close I was. I think when I turned it off, it was because Poppy had woken up and we were like up and about and doing stuff, so I wasn't able to finish in that moment, but I feel like, or at least I didn't think I did, because I wasn't sure how much time was left, but I had to have realized it was like literally only a single minute. I would have just finished the book. Overall, I think that I really liked it. The one thing that I think was the most significant difference that I noticed, and that like I kind of wish hadn't been the case, was that in King Lear, in the Shakespeare play, you do actually get scenes, like often frequent scenes, kind of like from the king or with the king and the fool, as he's like on a little bit of a journey, sort of, or out and about, as his mental state is slowly deteriorating. You get like scenes with King Lear and the fool, and in this, you only ever get to see the king when he's like with one of the other sisters. There are no POVs, or like there are no times or chapters or moments from his perspective. The fool is hardly in it as well. And again, like in the play, the fool is like the like comic, like classic comic relief, right? Again, I don't remember exactly what happened in the play, but like this was good. It had those dramatic moments, even though the overall story is quite slow and quiet. I did enjoy the majority of the perspectives. I don't think it should have just been the three sisters. I did like some of the other perspectives that were involved, or that we got snippets from, but I don't think all of them played a role. Like there's at least two perspectives, and I'll say that's like the handmaid, or Elia's maid, lady's maid, that kind of thing. Don't know what her perspective added all that much, along with the sister's uncle. There's an uncle around in this one, and I could take it or leave it kind of on that one. But otherwise, I enjoyed the perspectives. We know we get the answer of what happened to the queen, what happened to the mom, I think in a really satisfying and dramatic fashion. We got the answer to that. Lots of stuff went down. Like it was still very dramatic while still being a very quiet, I keep saying play, very quiet book. Again, I still feel the same about Elia. I don't feel like she was very clearly the main character, and I didn't really feel strongly about her as a person. I think she had a little bit of that like main character syndrome going on, or like not like other girls, but the definitely like everything is good and perfect about her, and she's so reasonable and blah blah blah, like that kind of thing. And I just wasn't sold on Elia. I honestly thought the other two sisters were a lot more interesting, and to be honest, I think that I felt that way about the play. Like I think that I remember loving the drama that the two bad sisters brought to the table, brought to the experience. So that checks out. I did a ton of reading of Clara and the Sun today. Basically, whenever Poppy was down, I was able to read, and I'm about halfway through the book. Things have started to happen, I would say. I think that there's more drama coming, I suspect, but Clara's gotten some more introductions, let's say. She's met some people. More information is being divulged. We're talking a little bit more directly about like what specifically, or like what has, we're not talking about the specifics, but there's some more direct mentions of like something that has happened with the kids. There's like a little tweak of a bit of drama perhaps, or like is something weird going on here? Kind of like hints have been dropped along the way. I just had a scene where Clara was talking to a neighbor, and I feel like we got a whole bunch of more information and stuff going on. I'm still not like in love with it. Like I couldn't like talk for ages about what I have read so far, but I'm very much so in that like I think this is a book where really if I had the time and the space to do this, I would just want to sit down and read this whole book straight through, to be like, because it has that sort of like, what's going on here? Like not the like, oh my God, I must know what happens kind of a page turning, but like you can't put it down because you're like, there's something, and you're like not ever getting like enough to like be like, oh, that's a reveal, interesting. It's like always a little bit more and more and more, like you're slowly unraveling and getting more information about what's going on. So that's where I'm at with that one. And as I said just before I started teaching, I picked up Black Sun, the third book that I'm going to be reading. I think that one is Gather Your Companions, maybe, which I'm reading with a new to me author. So that is my one for that one. And this is also the book club pick for the book checkout book club that myself and a few other channels, Kristen Craves Books, Maria Might Read That, Bright and Bookish, and Kate Coy. That is the book club that we have, the book checkout, and it is our book pick for the month of November. We will be having the live show at some point in December, like mid-December, so I didn't have to read it in November, but I've managed to squeeze it in here, so I've started that. That being said, I'm not sure how long it is. I'm started listening to the audio, but then my fourth book, Book of Gothel, also came up on audio, and the ebook for that, my library hold is like super long, like several weeks. I'm not going to get it before the end of this readathon. So if I have to read Book of Gothel as audiobook, might be tough to also read Black Sun as audiobook. Like I won't have enough time to read both of those things, and maybe I need to pivot. I did just get 10,000 Stitches. I got a notification from the library that 10,000 Stitches just became available. Now, 10,000 Stitches, I'm pretty sure, is a romance. So that would also work for the same step that I'm using Black Sun for. I could wait and read Black Sun in December. I am using both. Scribd has both the ebook and the audiobook, so it's not like I have to listen to the audiobook now. It's not like I'm like losing a copy of the library book. I'll have it available to me as long as I keep purchasing Scribd, which for the foreseeable future I am. So I might pivot. The only thing is that I think that 10,000 Stitches is the second in like an ongoing Fae kind of romance, like Regency Fae romance thing. And I think Half a Soul is first, but I'm not sure if it's necessary to read Half a Soul before 10,000 Stitches, and my library wait for Half a Soul is way longer. So I do know that, like, I think that 10,000 Stitches will probably be spoilery for Half a Soul, but it's like, it's a romance. They get together, you know, like, does it really spoil it? So I'm going to reach out to some people that have read them and see if it is okay to read 10,000 Stitches, because in that case, I might pivot, and that would be a shorter book also. Again, depending on how long the audiobook and the ebook are for Black Sun. I just looked out the window and it's starting to rain, so I'm gonna go so that I can get on my bike. Feel good about having worn all of my rain gear now. I'm gonna bike home, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow or whenever.
So it's Thursday. We have had a pretty chill day. We just had a super big walk, and Puppy is fast asleep on the couch with me here. So I have been actually reading quite a bit today on her downtime, and I am this far from the end of Clara and the Sun. Things are definitely happening. There's been some reveals. It's so interesting though, because your perspective, like from Clara's POV, is very fragmented. So she's only taking in certain things, so you're getting like half parts of conversations because her attention is diverted for various reasons or various things. You're never fully like, a lot of things are not fully explained, although some stuff did just get fully explained, and it was shocking. So there's been some reveals. It's a really hard book to talk about, because I feel like if you say anything, it feels a little bit spoilery. So I'm gonna just briefly explain like a little bit of the setup. And if you don't want to know anything about it, I'll put timestamps up so you can jump ahead. But essentially, we are in like definitely some sort of time in the future. There are obviously, Clara's like an artificial friend, so she's an AI being. But it does kind of imply that like the generation, so she's like friends for this 14-year-old girl who is sick. And it's also clear though that like that girl's mom, like the mother, that their generation like didn't have artificial intelligence, I think. So it's not like, it's unclear how much in the future it is or any of that. There's like, what is she sick from? And there's all these like hints about that like something has been done to certain kids in a way to like improve them, I think, or to make them more higher ranking. Clara is always referring to things as high rank or very high rank and stuff like that. And I think that like society has somehow maybe divided into like a little bit of the haves and the have-nots in a more extreme manner than even now. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. But it's, again, like everyone acts as if Clara knows, right? And if Clara knows, I have the sensation that Clara knows more than what is being divulged to us, the reader. But I just don't know what is obvious and not obvious to her. Because in a lot of ways, she's extremely innocent. Dave keeps talking about that it's like the most interesting way that he's seen childlike innocence written. And in some senses, I agree with that. And others, I'm like, I don't know. I think she's quite knowing, though, in other areas. So there's definitely some elements that I think that I agree with. But anyway, stuff is going on, and we got a bunch of reveals, and it's very unsettling. Like unsettling. Eerie isn't quite the right word. Disturbing maybe would be. I am very nervous. It's one of those things where now I'm at the point where I'm actually like nervous to keep reading, because it's not that I don't like what's going on. It's more that I'm like, ooh, this makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, so that's it. I'm gonna keep reading. I might have like a small snack or something. I'll see what we have for groceries. And then at some point I have to go to work. And then tomorrow's Friday, so I have off. And on Saturday, Taylor is coming to town, which I'm really excited about. So Taylor and I are gonna meet up. We might go to a fantasy bookstore, we might go for coffee, we might go for a work, not sure. But either way, we are gonna be meeting up this Saturday. And she has read Queens of Innisleer. I was supposed to read it like together with her. So it'll be nice to chat with her about that, and we'll see what's up.
She did indeed wake up when I got up. She looks absolutely exhausted. So I'm just gonna let her stay here, chill, do her own thing. Hey, love.
So I do not think that this is the best idea to eat while doing this face mask. But I'm gonna do it anyway because my soup is ready and this was not ready to come off yet. I don't have any new updates for Clara and the Sun. What I have been reading quite a bit of is Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is my book for the third step, and I believe that one is Gather Companions. And so this is a new to me author, so I'm not getting a ton of points on it, but it is also the book club pick, as I mentioned before. I was a little bit worried that it was gonna be really long and that I was gonna spend a bunch of time on a book that was not getting me a bunch of points, but it apparently is quite short. So I feel like I've only been, like, I haven't put a considerable amount of listening in, just like biking to and from work the past couple days. That being said though, I'm already a quarter into the book. I have 4.5 hours left of listening at, I think I'm doing it at 2 times speed. So I think this is overall a very short book. So that is good. I was worried that I was gonna spend a lot of time on it. This is so good, but it's like a little bit too hot. But it's so good that I want to inhale it, but I need to go slowly. It's just leftovers. My partner is an amazing cook. I don't know if I've mentioned that before. He makes all of our meals, like 99.9% of our meals. He loves cooking. And he makes such like hearty, delicious food. I'm extremely spoiled. I literally sit at home waiting for him to come home from work to make dinner for me. It's a very nice setup. But in Black Sun, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm really liking the audiobook. It is a full cast, so it has different narrators for the different POVs. I think we're only 3 POVs in. I don't know if that changes. I'm really bad with names on audiobooks for some reason. If I hear it, like I know I can recognize it in the moment, but then to recall it, can't. I need to like be able to visually picture the name in order to remember it, which is really weird. So I'm forgetting all the names. But so far I'm enjoying them. There's not necessarily any one that I like more than the other. We've got someone who is this young boy when it first starts out in the prologue with like that blinding scene that I had forgotten about. And I think it's some sort of prophecy thing. Like he feels like he's been like destined to be some sort of prophesied god. I'm not sure if there's sacrifice involved, but he has some like life purpose that his mom gave to him when he was a young age, and he's on a bit of a journey. We also have a captain of a ship, and I really enjoy her perspective actually. And she appears to be, I think, a siren. They're saying the word teak, which is like a culture, but I think she has magic. It was described a little bit like it was her song, and she can like persuade different things to do things with this song, which that sounds like a siren to me. So I'm wondering if it is I believe this is South American influenced. So I wonder if it is a particular like reference there to a South American folklore tradition about sirens. I'm not sure. I'm actually curious enough that I will look that up. And then we also have another perspective that is a sun priest, and she, I don't have much to say about that one. She has like somebody tries to kill her towards the beginning, and there's definitely some like political maneuverings within this sun priesthood, and she's in the location that the other two people are traveling to, and there's something about this crow cult, or the cult of the crows. So anyway, I can see how we're all going to merge together. Oh, so I'm sorry, jiggling the table. I can see how we're all going to merge together at some point, so I'm very interested in that. And like I said, I'm really enjoying it. Feels like I haven't gotten that much into it yet, but apparently I'm over a quarter of the way in. So I mentioned that I was thinking about picking up 10,000 Stitches. So I got word from Abby. I asked her in our Discord, in our witches chat group, and Abby Salter just recently read like the most recent one, so she's read all the 3 that are currently out, and she said you can absolutely read 10,000 Stitches without it being that much of an issue before Half a Soul, which was technically published first. There's like some overlapping characters, but it's not spoilery or anything. Well, again, beyond likely the couple. But she did say that you should definitely read Half a Soul before you read the newest one that just came out, which I believe is called Long Shadow. So anyway, as I said, Black Sun is not that many points for this step, and you can, basically you can't move forward, like I can't go into step 4 until I conclude step 3, but I can use multiple books on step 3, and I can, as soon as I finish step 3, I can start reading step 4, but still also keep working on step 3. So I think what I'm going to do is actually read, because Black Sun is so short, I think I'm going to try to go for it with 10,000 Stitches. So I've got an ebook copy of that from the library. I'm going to read that. I don't have another ebook going on. I'm doing the audio with Black Sun, physical for Clara and the Sun. So I will use 10,000 Stitches for my ebook, and that way it'll bang off. I think it's definitely a romance. I don't know if it focuses on family, but I know that it is a romance, so I'll be able to get another 100 points for that. And then it's the where do you go from there. The TBR that I had the books for step 4 and step 5 were Book of Gothel, and then it was my poll pick, which I haven't checked in recently, but I'm pretty sure The Lies of Locke Lamora won. Book of Gothel, I thought I was going to have to do audiobook because I had the audiobook ready and available, took it out from the library, perfect. I think the last time I checked, like when I checked, it was, and I said this on Wednesday, that I had like several weeks, it was at least 5 weeks before I could get the ebook. That was the wait time on the hold, and so I didn't think I was going to be able to get the ebook. Just showed up yesterday, or maybe this morning or last night, so I was able to take that out as well. It must have been a bunch of people hitting postpone, so I got bumped up to the front of the line or something. So now I have both the ebook and the audiobook for Book of Gothel that I can work on, depending on which one I finish first, or whether it's Black Sun or 10,000 Stitches. I'll just switch and maybe do a combo of both for there. And then physical book, I think the only way that I can read Lies of Locke Lamora, if that's the one that won, which I'm pretty sure it is, I only have a physical copy. So that'll be perfect. I will maybe start picking up. It's the 11th of November. I'm actually doing a lot better than I thought. It feels like I feel like I'm progressing more quickly than I was worried or concerned about. So I think that I am, when I finish Clara and the Sun for a physical book, I'm going to pick up The Lies of Locke Lamora and start picking away at that one. It's one of my must-read before the end of the year anyway, so even if I don't finish it before the end of the month, no harm done. So that is my grand plan as of now. Things may change. Today was crazy. I picked up an extra shift, so I got up in the morning, took Poppy for a long walk, immediately went to work, to yoga, taught 2 classes. This was the longest amount of time, except for like one other occasion when we had an appointment. This is the longest amount of time that she's been in the crate. And I won't lie, it did not go great. In that when I returned home, she was crying audibly to the extent that I could hear her outside. Now, where the room that she's in has like a glass, it's where I film, it has like a glass, like big glass full floor to ceiling window. And that is right over the front door to our building where the bikes are. So it wasn't like it was a crazy amount of distance or anything like that. Like I think you could only hear it outside because it was like right beside where she was. But that being said, she was obviously upset when I was gone. So I'm not sure how long she was upset. I always leave my phone number on our door when I leave, being like, let me know if there's an issue. No one ever texts or calls. So anyway, so I got home, took her out, went outside, like played a bunch outside, which is just like so much fun. And we did a little bit of training. We came in, we did some more training. I think she went down for like an hour. That was the first time I sat down all day. And then I had to get her up early actually before her 2-hour nap time was over in order to go do a meetup for a neutrality meetup with another dog in our neighborhood. Okay, I have to go wash this off. I'll be right back. So yeah, today was just like a full day. It's only 4:30. It's completely black outside already. It's gonna be like this for so long now. But it was really good. The neutrality date, like puppy neutrality date that I had, went really well. So again, it's like a meetup with another dog owner. It's a full-grown dog who lives in our neighborhood, this one. And we just practice like the dogs walking past each other and not like reacting or pulling or lunging or barking or anything like that towards each other. I don't know. I don't need to tell you the details of the dog training, but it went really, really well. She did really well. So I have so much to do. If we're gonna finish eating, I've got some tea. After this, I have to tidy. We have guests coming over, so I mentioned Taylor's gonna be in town, so Taylor and I are gonna meet up, maybe go to the fantasy exclusive or like the fantasy only bookstore that is in Copenhagen. So that is a possibility. We're gonna play it by ear in the morning depending on how we're feeling. But then we also have one of Dave's friends is actually coming down from the city we used to live in, and he's staying with us for the weekend for a visit. So the living room is okay. I just did all the dishes, but the bedroom and the spare room and the bathroom are a complete mess. So I have to finish this, get working on that. I'm gonna pop on the audiobook. And tonight, actually, we're gonna do like a movie night in bed. It's not really a movie night. We're gonna be watching House of the Dragon, but we don't have a TV, so we have a projector only. So we like set up our projector in our bedroom, and we're gonna watch House of the Dragon in bed, get some cozy snacks. Friday, Slick is super big here, where it's like candy on Fridays. I mean, you guys already know that I bought a lot of candy, and I did finish that entire bag, like, by Wednesday, I think. But I'm gonna go get more. Probably some other snacks, we'll see. I think it'll be like a cozy night in and a really like fun social weekend, so I'm looking forward to it. Okay, all set up. It's Friday night. We got sour candies, marabou dime, sour cream and onion chips. We're ready to go with the projector. Obviously the light is on, so the screen does not look as good just now. We've got laundry in, and Poppy is in her crate. We're all set to go for some House of the Dragon. So I'm in bed. It is Sunday night. It's 9 p.m. Super exhausted. Did not film everything like I had planned this weekend. Some days you have days where you're like, I've got so much to say. It's so easy to film everything. And other days when you're supposed to be vlogging, you're just like, you know what? I just want to like be in the moment and not pull out my phone. So it is what it is. I finished watching Love is Blind. Oh my God. This season was actually like pretty good. Some of them surprised me. Some of them I feel like the like coming up this season or next time on made certain situations look like deceptively like something was going to go wrong when they didn't. And some of those relationships were just, yeah, like I'm glad that some of them didn't go through with it because it was not right. It was not a good, healthy relationship. And then one, they're like seeing each other now, and I think that was the right choice. Like it wasn't the right timing. There were circumstances, but I'm glad that they're actually like still working on their relationship. And yeah, I
I just think Love is Blind is such an interesting show, not because I like love it, but because it's really interesting to see the conversations that people do have. It's tough, you don't obviously get to see all of them, but it is really interesting to see the kind of conversations that people think are really important to have in that, and how different people react to different things. And there's also a Love is Blind Japan that we watched as well, or I watched. And it was just really interesting to compare and contrast the different cultures and how the two different cultures approached the pod situation differently, or how they like read into things differently. And obviously there's some translation errors, I'm sure, with that one. But anyway, that's my thoughts on Love is Blind. Let me know what you thought down below if you also watched it, of the couples that did get married, and if any of them surprised you either by not going through with it or by going through with it. Very curious to know about that. I'm gonna message my sister. It's been her like late night breastfeeding TV watching, like mindless TV that she doesn't have to pay attention to. She's been watching Love is Blind. I have a brand new niece. It has not come up yet, but I have a new niece and I'm very excited. I get to meet her for the first time at Christmas. Anyway, so that's me. I'm in bed. As I said, I'm having some mint chip ice cream. It's very good. I finished Clara and the Sun today. I don't feel like there is anything that I can say about Clara and the Sun that doesn't feel spoilery, because you don't get all the answers. There's like stuff going on in the world that's clearly a fully realized world, and you just don't have all the answers. Then there's the stuff that happens with Clara and like her innocence and her belief in this particular element or this like thing that she believes is going to happen, and like how she reads into those situations is so interesting. But then she's like so advanced in other areas. So that was really like an interesting comparison. The reveal was pretty shocking. I did not guess that that's where we were going. And then Clara is like, oh yes, I suspected this for a while. And you're like, did you? Why didn't you share that with me, the reader? Like, there were a lot of times where it felt like Clara knew things that you didn't know and that you weren't sharing, that she wasn't sharing. It's like, how reliable of a narrator was she? There was this one scene, though, that was so masterfully written that the way that it was written, you could exactly understand like what that experience was like for Clara. And it's basically, she's on like a busy street and there's a bunch of different conversations going on around her. And she might have had some like changes to her observational capacity. You're getting snippets of like what she is not only seeing and how things are oriented differently, or how shapes aren't quite fully being realized and perceived the way that they are, while at the same time you're getting snippets of various conversations with other characters in the book that are happening all around you. And it's like written so overwhelmingly that it perfectly encapsulates that experience of being on that street with her. It was like hard to read in the way that experience would have been very like a little bit almost anxiety provoking. So that was really like just like a genius scene, and you could see how that would be like a moment in a film, and how that would come across the same way. It was honestly such a really cool scene to read, and very overwhelming. I thought the ending was devastating. It was one of those endings where you're like, I want to cry, but I'm not exactly sure why. I can't say, obviously, because of spoils, but if you've read Clara and the Sun, I think you know what I mean. Where it's just like the sensation is of like profound, like, ugh. I don't know. I guess I can't explain why I wanted to cry at the end, because I don't really feel like I can fully articulate my feelings. I feel like it's one of those books where like I don't feel like I have the right word or eloquence or capacity to describe the way that I feel in order to articulate what it is that I feel or how I feel about those books, because it is one of those speculative books that's making you question and think about things. And definitely like love, and there's a little bit of like what makes a person and what makes a person loved. And then there was questions obviously going on in the world around them about like this like artificial intelligence But that was all like secondary, like that was happening in the background that you never got the full story of because it was never shared with you. Did I love it? No, but it was definitely a very thought-provoking book. I don't think it's one that I would read again. It was a very quick, easy read at the same time. Like it's written in a language that's very easy to consume. You are reading it from this like childlike AI perspective, right? It's an artificial friend who was designed to be friends with a young adolescent, like young teenager. So they have that kind of level. So it's very simplistic in the writing, but at the same time, the whole time you're just like, what's going on here? So I think this would be like, if I really had the time, I think it could have just like sat down and read this book straight through. It's one of those books where you just like need to keep reading to find out what happens, and not in like a fast-paced page turner, but more in a, you want to keep reading in order to find out what it is that is going on here. Still reading Black Sun. I'm about 2/3 of the way in. I have 2.5 hours left at 2 times speed. Really still enjoying it. The one storyline though, that is the Sun Priest, I'm finding extremely stressful to read because the main character, or that character, that POV is being like, there's some like political maneuverings against her going on and she's on the back foot. And that is a situation that always causes me stress when a character is like already losing. And whoever it is that's against them, like the antagonist is like ahead of them in maneuvering and plotting before they even realize that there's a problem. And like I was having like stomach ache. I'm having like stomach aches listening to those chapters. That's where I'm at with Black Sun. I also started 10,000 Stitches, but it's my ebook that I read before bed, so I usually get like 10 pages in before I am tired and fall asleep. So that is it. I am going to wrap up my vlog for this week, and I will pick up either tomorrow or the day after for the week 3 vlog. So far I have 2 of the steps done, and I am reading 2 books for step 3, and as soon as one of those books is done, I will be picking up the next book for step 4 in the Readathon. If you are joining in the Readathon, let me know how you are doing so far in it, and I will see you guys next week. Have a great day. Bye.